Was good, was good. Welcome here to Golden Era Boxing here for all boxing fans around the world. We are doing this transmission in English. We normally do it in Spanish, so I do it in Spanish and English, kind of vary it a little bit, for all people, Spanish speaking countries and English speaking countries. And, just give us a like here, entering here, just give us that like. And also, follow us at goldeneraboxing.com where you'll find more information, stories. We'll have different analysis, predictions. We have it all there. So check it out there. We have all that. So, um, you know, congratulations to Tim Tszyu. Tszyu, he did really good. Tszyu, was able to, manage the fight. And you got to remember that Tony Harrison is a good fighter. And he took this fight not really, having too much time to prepare for it. And he went to Australia and fought the Australian. And Tim Tszyu is one of the upcoming fighters that's coming up from Australia who looks like he has a lot of potential. Tszyu was supposed to fight Jermel Charlo, for an undisputed throne, but Jermel Charlo had that problem with his wrist, with his arm. He was just not, in good condition. And what's funny is actually he was actually watching the fight in PBC, with the rest of analysts there, and he was also commenting on the fight. So I thought it was interesting. Normally, I don't watch fights when they're commenting because I like to watch it, without nobody saying anything, so it's less biased when I'm watching it. But the fight was interesting. I thought that Tony Harrison did good. I think that he threw the jab and he was trying to get out of range because Tinsu is a fighter that likes to put pressure, and once he puts pressure, he's basically trying to counter you within the pressure he's putting in, right? So sometimes in the fight, as Harrison was throwing the jab, the first jab, Sue basically would just counter him and throw a right hook to his face, right? And it would actually land. So I think that it wasn't that Harrison didn't want to throw the second hand. I just think that he was intimidated by the punches of Sue, right? And and Harrison, I felt like he threw the jab a lot, but he wasn't necessarily moving in the beginning of the fight. And I think that caused a lot of problems in the beginning because Harrison is actually a lengthy fighter. He likes to move, punch, and go out of range. And I felt like he wasn't doing that in this fight. Like he was losing focus, and Sue was just punishing him with hard shots. Okay, if you look at the power punches, Sue was just landing, just landing more shots. And the smart thing about Sue that I liked is that he would wait patiently, even though Harrison was peppering him with up jabs. He was absorbing the shots, and then literally he was actually waiting for the right moment and then just throw his combinations. And I like that because that is actually something that Julio Cesar Chavez used to actually do. He used to just get in, just wait, and then throw his shots. And every time he threw his shots, instead of tying him, and I'm talking about Harrison. See, Harrison should have tied him before Sue was about to counter him, but he didn't do that. He made it a fight. He made it a brawl. And then when you're in close quarters with Sue, that's going to be a problem because that's the type of fight that he likes to do, right? So he was landing uppercuts. I mean, he was landing some really heavy shots. Some of those shots that Sue landed, almost landed, that would have been devastated if it would have landed. But Harrison was overall surviving and just moving and throwing the jab. And he actually threw successful jabs, but I just didn't feel like I feel like he wanted to hurt him, but he was doubting himself because he was just too open. Also, another thing that I was looking at is when Harrison was throwing the shots, like especially the jab, instead of actually coming back to his face, it was going back to his body. So Sue would automatically just counter him. So, um, Tim Tszyu has beat Tony Harrison. This prediction, came along as I said. I thought that Tim Tszyu was just younger, and also I think I think his style of fighting is was going to be complicated for Harrison. Harrison, it just seems like he loses focus. Like he has all the tools in the bag, but he doesn't know how to use them, and you're going to lose if you do that. And Tszyu did know how to use his weaponry, and he did pretty well. He beat him via TKO, just peppering him with uppercuts. And something that I didn't like though, it was that the ref didn't stop the fight. I felt like he was getting too punished, and that was weird because I was like, why is the ref not stopping the fight right now? Like he should have stopped the fight because at one point Harrison, and that was in the ninth round, he was like literally like not even moving from the shots, and I felt like they should have just stopped it there, but they didn't. So I just felt like they were just waiting for him to concede or just drop in the floor, I guess. But yeah, I didn't like that too much. But other than that, Sue, it was just overall a better fighter tonight, and he's shown it. Now, of course, Tony Harrison is not Jermell Charlo. That's going to be a different fight altogether. If he doesn't fight Jermell Charlo for undisputed, and that's what I want to see personally, I would like to see Sue against somebody like Sebastian Fundora or Israel Madrinov. I think Madrinov is a very dangerous fighter. And if not, Barthak Mutasaliev, which is basically the Russian guy. So any of those three fights will be an excellent fight. And if he can't get any of those three fights, then I wouldn't mind seeing Brian Castano. But I think Brian Castano right now is kind of out of shape, so he might not be ready. But Sue is pretty much ready for a fight with Jermell. And I think that would be an interesting fight. If Jermell probably by the end of August is going to have other mandatories as well. So I wouldn't doubt that, like I said, Madrinov or Murtasaliev or even Fundora start to pick up and demand those mandatories. So that's going to put some pressure on Jermell. And, I think that this was a good fight for Sue because with Gaucher, he kind of struggled a little bit. And Gaucher was not a bad fighter. Gaucher is actually a decent fighter. In fact, I think Gaucher did better, in my opinion, than Harrison did. But Harrison is kind of like with Brian Perella when he was fighting him. I felt like he wasn't really in his best, and then he did good with Sergio Garcia. But Sergio Garcia wasn't necessarily, he didn't beat anybody. So Tony Harrison was just way superior to Sergio Garcia. So it's not like Sergio Garcia to me. He's kind of like in the way out of boxing. Like a lot of us thought that he was pretty much done like a year ago, 2 years ago. He just had that good fight with Sergio Garcia. But I want to see Sue with somebody who's younger, who's hungrier, and who's ready to trade. And any of those four fights that I just mentioned, any of those four fights, that would be really good for Sue. And he can win and he can lose some of those fights. It just depends. Styles make fights. That's how it is. Styles make fights, and at the end of the day, you have to get ready for all the styles. So I would like to see him against any of those styles, and I think he's definitely a fighter that he does well. He will do well. Chucho Gonzalez said, "Whoa, they lynched Tony Harrison." I mean, that's pretty racist, bro. I'm not even gonna. I mean, that's some racist shit right there. So I'm not gonna say anything about that. I don't agree with that. But he definitely got hurt. But lynching, man, that's some racist shit, man. That's crazy. I wouldn't say that. So anyway, congratulations to Sue. I think he did a good job, and I personally think that he will become a dangerous fighter in the division. And now it's just picking one of these next fights that are coming up. But his style is an entertaining one, so a lot of people would like to see this guy. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, we'll just leave it that way. Subscribe to Golden Era Boxing, give us a like, and also, check out our webpage, goldeneraboxing.com. Any questions, just let us know. You can send letters to the editor as well. And we'll see you later. Peace out, and Hagone, like the natives say it here in New Mexico. See you guys soon. Later.